The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, commonly known as the MH370 disappearance of a Malaysia Airlines passenger jet on March 8, 2014, during a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Search efforts were conducted from the Indian Ocean west of Australia to Central Asia in response to the disappearance of the Boeing 777, which had 227 passengers and 12 staff members on board. Flight 370's disappearance is so mysterious that it has become one of the most well-known missing airplanes in history. Welcome to my channel, Historical Studies. Before diving into the mysteries of history, there is a small reminder. If you are really interested in this kind of information, do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon if you don't want to miss out on our new videos. Disappearance and search. At 1:01 a.m. local time, Flight 370 had climbed to a cruising altitude of 10,700 meters, after departing at 12:41 a.m. local time. At 1:07 a.m., the aircraft communication addressing and reporting system, which sent information regarding the performance of the aircraft, sent its final transmission before being turned off. At 1:21 a.m., just as the aircraft was about to cross into Vietnamese airspace over the South China Sea, the plane's transponder, which connected with air traffic control, had been switched off. At 1:30 a.m., Malaysian military and civilian radar began tracking the plane as it turned around and then flew southwest over the Malay Peninsula and then northwest over the Strait of Malacca. The plane lost contact with Malaysian military radar over the Andaman Sea at 2:22 a.m. Hourly signals from Flight 370 were picked up by an Inmarsat satellite in geostationary orbit over the Indian Ocean, which last located the aircraft at 8:11 a.m. The South China Sea was the focus of the initial search efforts for the plane. Search operations were moved to the Strait of Malacca and the Andaman Sea when it was discovered that Flight 370 was heading to the west immediately after the transponder was turned off. The plane had been missing for a week before the Inmarsat contact was made public on March 15. Although the plane's precise location could not be determined from the signal analysis, it was found that it might have been anywhere along two arcs, one stretching from Java southward into the Indian Ocean southwest of Australia and the other stretching northward across Asia from Vietnam to Turkmenistan. The search area was then expanded to the Indian Ocean southwest of Australia on the southern arc and Southeast Asia, western China, the Indian subcontinent, and Central Asia on the northern arc. The flight crashed in a remote area of the Indian Ocean 2,500 kilometers southwest of Australia, according to Inmarsat and the UK Air Accidents Investigation Branch. Therefore, the chances of anyone remaining on board were extremely low. The search for wreckage was hampered by the remote location of the crash site. Around 2,000 kilometers northwest of Perth, Western Australia, an Australian ship began to notice a number of acoustic pings that may have originated from the flight recorder of the Boeing 777 on April 6. Further analysis by the AAIB of the Inmarsat data also found a partial signal from the plane at 8:19 a.m. consistent with the location of the acoustic pings, the last of which was heard on April 8. A robotic submarine was used to perform more searches. The submarine did not discover any debris. The pings spread over a large region, and tests found that a faulty cable in the acoustic equipment could have produced the pings. Passengers. Of the 227 passengers, 153 were Chinese citizens, including a group of 19 artists with 6 family members and 4 staff returning from a calligraphy exhibition of their work in Kuala Lumpur. 38 passengers were Malaysians. The other travelers came from 12 different nations. 20 passengers were free-scale semiconductor workers, 12 of whom were from Malaysia and 8 from China. Suu Kyi promptly sent highly trained teams to Beijing and Malaysia to provide emotional support to the relatives of passengers following a 2007 agreement with Malaysia Airlines. The airline promised to pay for the cost of flying the passengers' relatives to Kuala Lumpur, where they would be given lodging, medical attention, and counseling. The airline also deployed its own team of volunteers and carers. 115 Chinese travelers' family members traveled to Kuala Lumpur in total. Some other family members chose to remain in China, fearing they would feel too isolated in Malaysia. Debris discovery. The right-wing flaperon was found on a beach on the French island of Réunion on July 29, 2015, nearly 3,700 kilometers west of the area of the Indian Ocean that was being searched by Australian authorities. 26 further pieces of wreckage were discovered over the course of the following 18 months off the coasts of Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa, Madagascar, and Mauritius. 3 of the 27 pieces were positively identified as coming from Flight 370, and 17 were thought to have likely come from the plane. 2 pieces came from the cabin interior, suggesting that the plane had broken up, but whether the plane broke up in the air or on impact with the ocean could not be determined. A study of the right-wing flap discovered in Tanzania and the Réunion wing flaperon showed that the aircraft didn't have a controlled descent, meaning it had not been led to a sea landing. Some academics point out that Flight 370 may have crashed vertically with the water, which would account for the lack of physical evidence, according to the findings of a modeling analysis carried out before the flaperon's discovery. In January 2017, the governments of Malaysia, Australia, and China suspended the investigation into Flight 370. An American company, Ocean Infinity, received permission from the Malaysian government to continue searching until May 2017, when the Malaysian Transport Ministry announced that it would call off that search. The Malaysian government released its final report regarding Flight 370's disappearance in July 2018. The probability of a mechanical malfunction was very low, and the change in flight path likely resulted from manual inputs, but Flight 370's disappearance remained a mystery. Possible causes for the plane's disappearance. Theories about what happened to aircraft 370 in the weeks after it vanished covered everything from technical failure to pilot suicide. Although continuous rumors of a hijacking emerged as a result of the loss of the ACARS and transponder signals, no one or organization claimed credit. It also appeared not likely that hijackers would have flown the aircraft to the southern Indian Ocean. That the signals had likely been switched off from inside the aircraft suggested suicide by one of the crew, a possibility that Malaysian authorities have yet to rule out, but nothing suspicious was found in the behavior of the captain, the first officer, or the cabin crew prior to the flight. After the discovery. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for being to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell us what you think about this video below in the comment section.